Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the last day of Oak Conference 2025, 14th annual. Really pleased to have shared the past 2 days with everyone, most of you, and today our closing day. It's just a real bright spot in our year as Oak staff and volunteers and board members and advisors to be in community in person with you all in these days. So thank you for being here and giving it your all and putting in the long days here together. I'm going to share just a few opening housekeeping things today, and then a couple Oak program highlight overview. For some of you that were here yesterday, it might be just a little bit of the same information, but also for any of you in the room that are interested to know even more about our programs and services, I just really invite you to talk with Oak staff. We covered a lot of the highlights and what's ahead for 2024 last night in the Oak annual membership meeting. So if some of you are not members, consider that. We love sharing all the details with the folks who are interested. So first, housekeeping. We are having like some minor hot beverage issues. So if the coffee is slow to refill or the hot water is slow to refill, just know that there are about 5 people trying to troubleshoot a myriad of challenges. So we ask for your patience. It is not without a lot of effort and trying. So patience is appreciated. The water dispensers for drinking water, they also have like the hot water option. They will dispense hot water for you for tea, but only like 3 cups at a time before it needs to recharge. So if the hot water is out at the table and you are interested in tea, please use those Primo black water stands, but you might have to be patient there also. We thought we had it all covered, but electricity and percolators. Okay, so that's it for housekeeping. I do want to just say we're able to be here today because of some incredible support from these sponsors and a lot of program partners behind the scenes making it possible. I shared yesterday, and I'll share again today, over a third of the folks at conference are here on scholarships, which is a really big deal. We're really always trying to think about how do we get the people in the room that need to be in the room, and how do we reduce barriers to being here. So we recognize even with that, it's a lot of effort and time and resources where you're not with your family and you're not on your farm, but thank you for being here, and these folks want you to be here. A lot of these sponsors are also tabling. They're resource providers, they're industry supporters, they're technical service providers. They have cost share programs for you. Please be sure to connect with them in the trade show while you're here. They want to support you and see your farms thrive. So Oak is a nonprofit founded by farmers. We're here to advance opportunities for regenerative organic agriculture in the state of Kentucky, and we do that with a lot of programs and a lot of partnerships and with your input. So we believe that organic agriculture provides a lot of opportunities and benefits, improving environmental resilience and conservation on your farms, but in the landscape broadly, a connected network of conservation. We believe that organic agriculture improves community and human health and provides some solutions that we really, really need at an individual level, but also in our communities. And we believe that organic agriculture can lead to regional agrarian prosperity. It is an economic development and an economic driver. We're seeing that organic farms are creating jobs, creating small businesses, and have a real opportunity in regional economic development. So we don't do this without a lot of support. So we're really lucky to be able to work in partnership with our 400 members and also be able to deliver programs that reach about 3,000 people annually. So we rely on input from our membership and from our program participants to design our programs as we move forward. For you members in the room that were with us at the annual membership meeting last night, you heard me say maybe 25 times, like, please fill out that member survey. Please fill out the conference survey. But all of your feedback and insights along the way, you all are the experts. You know what you need, you know what your opportunities are, you know, like, gosh, if I only had this support, it would help me like unlock this potential. But we need to know what that is so we can design programming or integrate it into our programming for you. So when we ask you to do that survey, provide that little session feedback card. It goes into to building out these priority areas. Our incredible Oak staff help design and implement our programs every year, and they're just phenomenal. They have so much expertise. So if you haven't yet connected with Oak staff while you're here, please do. I'll get into some of the program areas, but if you have questions about any of the services or programs Oak offers, ask any staff and we'll get you to the right person. Make sure you have the conversations you need to have. So I'm going to do a little overview of some programs, and then I'm going to pass the mic here. For Oak Conference, you all are all here. We did engage, I think with walk-ins, we're close to 400 individual participants conference this year, with about 80% of y'all being farmers and 67% beginning farmers. So we're really grateful for your all's participation in the programs and excited to see the room so full here. That's that conference survey plug. You'll be getting it, it's on the tables. It'll be in an email after the event as well, so please do take time for that. And save the date for Oak Conference next year. We'll be in Shepherdsville, south of Louisville, January 29th through the 30th. So it'll be at a conference center, and we'll have a big old trade show. So please save the date. We look forward to seeing you there. Okay. Farmer field days and workshops and webinars. We do have a few of these planned for 2025 already, and in the coming months we'll be sending out the full calendar of events. It is something to be planning a conference while also trying to plan a whole roster of field days, and so we'll be sure to get those details out to you soon, but we look forward to having you there. Our field days and workshops engaged almost 400 individuals last year and just offer a whole variety of opportunities. For organic transition and certification technical assistance, Kenya Abraham is the person you want to connect with on our team if you're interested in certification or have any questions at all about what that might look like for your farm. She's here to answer your quick questions, your long questions, do a farm visit, help you with the paperwork, so please reach out to her. For those of you that are having any production challenges or questions, if you're a commercial operation and you have questions, Sarah Gerkink on our team can answer your questions, come to the farm, help with production guides and nutrient management plans, so be sure to connect with her. We also have a soil health and climate smart project where we're enrolling farms in conservation practices, paying farms for implementing those practices, and then helping to market the commodities coming off of those acres. We enrolled 50 farms last year in the project. We'll enroll 75 this year. Farms can earn up to $5,000 a year for implementing those practices. So if this is something that you're interested in, please come talk to me, talk to Lee, talk to Marissa, who's in the back there, Annie Woods, and we'd love to share some more information with you about that opportunity. We're actively enrolling farms at this time. And then Kentucky Farm Share Coalition, for anyone that is growing CSA, please reach out to talk to Katie on our team or Dee on our team. We do a statewide CSA marketing program, and then we also run workplace-specific or community-specific CSA pickups with farms that are in the Kentucky Farm Share Coalition. This project has had a $4.1 million farm gate impact since it started. So this is, we're really excited about the opportunities for CSA in Kentucky through this project. Okay, that was the really quick, super fast. My main goal with all that was for anyone that wasn't here yesterday or is new to Oak and didn't know the details, we have a lot of programs available and they were designed with your all's input for you. They're available to you for free. So if you have questions about any of them, come to us. Also in the program, there's a whole page that just does a little overview of all the programs, and all of the information is on our website. So please, we're here for you, and check it out. So on that note, I'm going to pass it to Jenny, and we're going to get started with our keynote this morning. So thank you so much for being here. We look forward to sharing the day with you.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for being here. It's a Saturday morning. There are lots of places in the world where you could be right now in all the rest of your life that may or may not involve farming. You could be out there in your fields and barns with your family, watching TV, soaking in the sunrise. And I hope that you feel a little bit like you're at least with your farming family this morning. That's how we at Oak feel about all of you and the community that's developed over the 15 years plus now that Oak has been forming and evolving. And that is because we were started by farmers, as Brooke mentioned, to support farmers who are interested in and using organic practices. And we are grateful that you consider yourself among that community. If you're a farmer, if you're an ag professional, if you're a community member, or if you're all three. And so thank you for being with us here today. I will share that my first Oak Conference as a small family farmer was in 2017 in Shepherdsville at the very location where we will return next year for our 15th annual conference. So that is 2026. Conference in Shepherdsville. We hope that you will be there with us. It's a larger space, so we'll have more sessions to choose from, sorry, not sorry, and a bigger trade show and all of that. So tell your friends and neighbors and bring them all with you. With the work of farming, we all know that it is work. With the work of supporting farmers, we all know that it is work. And work and the rest of who we are as people does never need to be separated, although sometimes it can feel that way. And we've done book clubs over the years within our staff and board, and one of those years I was gifted a book that I only was able to pick up and read and make time and space for this past year. And so I'm going to read some words from Gloria Jean Watkins, a Kentuckian who you may know better by the name Bell Hooks. This Kentuckian was born in Hopkinsville, went on to do a lot of thinking, reflecting, loving, writing, teaching at Buie College, and thank goodness Bell Hooks' words live on. So they're a little bit, they're love-based, as you might know that Bell Hooks focuses on, among other things. And so you'll hear the emotion in my voice, and believe it or not, it comes back around to farming. So just bear with me while I read these with a little bit of tremble in my voice. Most of us did not learn when we were young that our capacity to be self-loving would be shaped by the work we do and whether that work enhances our well-being. No wonder, then, that we have become a nation where so many workers feel bad. Jobs depress the spirit. Rather than enhancing self-esteem, work is perceived as a drag, a negative necessity. Bringing love into the work environment can create the necessary transformation that can make any job we do, no matter how menial, a place where workers can express the best of themselves. When we work with love, we renew the spirit. That renewal is an act of self-love. It nurtures our growth. It's not what you do, but how you do it. Thank you, Bell Hooks. So maybe for some of you, that's not what you expect or want to hear at a farming conference, and yet for me, as the farmer education program manager, the love of the work is what I see from everyone in this audience, everyone outside these walls who are sitting at those tables out there supporting in their professional capacity, and all of the other folks who count themselves part of the farming community. And that's not just the organic farming community, that's the conventional farming community as well. And all the folks who support us from our families, y'all know who are supporting you and the others around you. And so in our work, in Oak's work, as a collective body trying to encourage that love of work and support the people who may be doing those menial things, those day-to-day things, those hard and lonely feeling things, we're always looking for those who are willing to stand up on a stage in front of the podium or in other spaces and share that love that work is being done from. And so when we look around to invite folks to come to the keynote stage, to speak to a large room full of lots of people and share their story and passion, we're looking for people who are not only doing that farming work, but who are also extending that beyond. And so one of those people who I've been watching for several years in his work is the man I'll introduce. Jesse Buie comes to us from Jackson, Mississippi. He'll share a little bit of his story growing up there and still living there. I've seen him and read about him standing up for organic farming in Washington, D.C. to our legislators, on the government board that can't be all that fun to always be in a meeting of with the National Organic Standards Board, supporting the work of the Real Organic Project, which is taking certified organic to a next level of expectations and standards and holding the integrity of what organic farmers originally created our organic program to stand behind. And so when I see that, I know without ever even looking him in the eyes and talking to him that he's bringing love into that work. And so I'm so grateful to have finally met and looked into the eyes of and spoken with Jesse Buie, and I'm really excited to welcome him to the stage as our 2025 keynote speaker. Jesse.
Jenny, thank you so much. Good morning, and I'm really honored to have this opportunity to be here, because it's always good to be with farmers and not politicians trying to keep you from doing what you're trying to do. I was in a meeting in Washington, and I had finished the meeting and I was at the airport, and this old farmer walked up to me, out of clear blue sky, and said, he said, you are a gentleman farmer. And I said, now, gentleman sounds pretty good, and the farmer sounds pretty good, but when you put both of them together, I don't think that's a compliment. So I went on to tell him that, I'm a dirt farmer, and my farm is in Brookhaven. I live in Jackson. I said, I'm a dirt farmer in Brookhaven, and I work hard, and I'm there all day, and I'm all about the soil. And so he just kind of looked at me and walked off. So I don't know, you maybe heard of Will Rogers, who said you never have a second chance to make a first good impression. So I think I blew that one. But again, I'm glad to be here to kind of share some of my experience, and I'm glad that you thought enough to invite me here. Growing up in Mississippi in the 50s, believe it or not, was not as bad as you think for me. We lived in a home that my father built, that we had fig trees and 3 kind of plum trees and pear trees and pecan trees. And when we finished our chores, we went hunting and fishing. And I still have a .22 automatic rifle. my brother had just a single shot 22, and my little brother had a BB gun. And those were times when you could just walk down the street. We walked down the street with our weapons. It was totally segregated in those times. But on our way to farming, the police would come by and just say, "How y'all doing?" And if you kill anything extra, appreciate if you let us have some. I said, "No problem, sir. No problem. We'd be glad to." So as like I said, we walked down the streets and with our weapons, and the police really were nice to us in those days. In the early '60s, we started to travel from our house in town to my grandfather's farm, and when we got there, at those times, every farm animal was a pet. So it was fun. Farming was fun. And I had a pig that I treated like a dog, and not bad dog. I treated him like a dog because I put a little harness on him, and wherever I took the dog, I took him. And so when mom and daddy would leave, I'd sneak him in the house and give him a bath and give him all kind of junk, because all they fed him was slop back in those days. And so I fed him a bunch, like I say, candy and stuff. But what happened, he quickly grew up and weighed about 300 pounds. And my father didn't realize, how about traumatizing folks. So this was my pet. 300 pounds, I'd be in the pen with him, playing with him and everything. And one day he just, without warning, he told me to just move to the side. And I said, "Daddy, why?" He just moved to the side. And the little pig just looked right at me. I mean, and sure enough, he killed him. Shot him right there. He fell down. I cried for a couple of hours. And Daddy said, "Well, this is your meal." I said, "No, I'm not going to eat that." And so he said, "Well, you're going to be hungry." I quickly got over it. So it was, but what was interesting about that experience was that was my first, I guess I want to say, gross anatomy test, because they gutted that pig. I saw the intestines, which were chitlins, and all of these other organs. And then my mother was a home economics teacher, so that means she quickly started making hoghead cheese or sauce or whatever it is they call it today. So, like I said, those were some good times. Then we had the garden, and to support that garden, there was a barn, and that barn was full of manure. We had the chicken coop, which was full of poop. And when it came time to plant our garden, it was simple. We went right to the barn and put it right on the rows. And then went to the chicken coop, same thing. None of this putting it out there and let it stay 6 months, roll it, turning it, looking at the temperature and all of this good stuff. But I would admit that the pile was turned well, because it had worms in it, and I was always going in it to get worms. So that was one of the requirements that I did, that was met back in those days. I did turn the pile, but I didn't take the temperature. So and then we put the leaves and all that stuff in there. And like I said, anything that would make the worms grow, that's what I did. So now looking back to those 60 years ago, was longer than that. That was the start of my organic career. During those times, we never used pesticides, but we did use triple 13. Now, and we used triple 13 on everything, on the yard, in the garden. But that's what we did back there in those days. And then when it was time to plant the garden, like I said, there was no need to check the temperature. We just put it, for pathogens, we just put it on the rows. So so as I grew up, I left Brookhaven and went to Dillard University in New Orleans, chemistry, and then later University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, where I got a degree in health policy and administration. And I've directed several statewide programs, general pediatrics for the Department of Health, community health center. I was an Army major in the Medical Service Corps, Army Commendation Medal with 1 Oak Leaf cluster, and expert field medical badge. But it was not until I became a certified hospice administrator and worked with physicians that I really understood the need for foods that did not have pesticides and preservatives. In working in that situation, the physicians always, they said, look, these patients can have, they got to have clean food, and they must have, no preservatives because their immune system was compromised due to, cancer and other treatments that they had. So this is when I started to pursue becoming certified organic. And so the first thing I did was went to my state ag department and told them that I wanted to become certified organic. And they truly didn't waste my time. They told me it's nothing I can do for you, and I really don't know who to tell you to talk to. So that made me really determined. I did my research and became certified. So I'm certified in mixed vegetables and melons, and I grow turmeric and ginger. And I'm gonna take this time to let you know that the professors at Mississippi State, they always correct me. They say it's turmeric, it's not turmeric. And I said, yes, sir. So I'm telling you, I'm gonna say turmeric maybe 2 or 3 more times, and then it's gonna go back to turmeric, because that's what I do. That's what it's called to me. So, all right, let me see where, okay, and so like I said, determined, I chose my certified and became certified. And I also have a handler certification to make a private label turmeric tea, ginger tea. Now, along the route, I think I'm, okay. Yeah, along the, along my journey to becoming, right after being certified organic, there were 3 encounters that I had in my life that really solidified my determination to uphold the high standards of quality and integrity in producing my products. And the first one was the co-op that in Brookhaven, when I told them I was becoming certified organic, they committed to buying whatever I grew. They said, if you grow organic sticks, we'll sell it for you. And that was wonderful. Then the second thing was the chef in that co-op asked me to bring him some the French breakfast radish that I grow. And so I was running late on the farm, so I just went out there and pulled it up, jumped in the car and brought it on to Jackson. I didn't wash it. And so when I gave it to him, it was a group of people standing around. And I said, look, I didn't have a chance to wash this because I wanted to get it to you so you can look at it. And so I didn't wash it. And so he took it and took his hand and he just wiped it off and he ate it. right in front of everybody. I said, look, I told you that, I didn't have a chance to wash it. He said, look, Jesse, you're certified organic. That means your soil is good. Now, I'm going to be honest, I do it all the time, but it was impressive to me that because you're certified organic, people got that confidence in the system. And the final situation was there were three young ladies, three mothers that came to the farm to buy squash. I grow a straight-necked yellow squash, and they came to get squash to make baby food, to puree the squash into baby food. And they told me that they understood, I don't know, they had done some research or something, that if it was certified organic, that they could give it directly to the babies. Now, for me to experience that was for me to understand that I'm not going to cut any corners. Because these were things that if I do cut corners and they get sick, it's not somebody across the world, it's somebody right in my neighborhood that I'm going to have to come back and deal with. So those things were really made a real impact on me. So let's see. Okay, I think it was 2016, I was appointed to the National Organic Standards Board, and I served 5 years on that board. I served in the farmer's seat, and my personal goal on that board was to maintain the integrity of that organic seal that we had there. And my other goal was also to make sure that farmers had the tools in their toolkit that they needed to be successful in farming. What I've learned with the politics on that board, you got a segment of people that want to take all the tools away from farmers. Every year it's a fight to keep things on the board for farmers to use, because if it's anything that somebody says is negative, then it's a possibility. It's a possibility that they will vote it off. So, as I said, make sure that they have the tools and stuff that they need to do their job. Now, when I got off the NOSB, one of the things that I did was notice that money had been allocated in the Farm Bill to provide organic farmers with certain monies to do certain things. But so on a webinar, I brought that up, and I won't call names of the organizations because it's been tremendous. There's been tremendous progress made since that. But as a result of bringing it to the attention of certain organizations, there's an effort now to work with these organizations to make sure that they understand that money has been allocated at the local level to help certified organic farmers. Now, I will tell you the specific circumstance that got me involved in my hometown. The Extension Service called me and said that they had 2 people in front of them that they were ready to be certified organic. And I said, okay. And that they had given them $1,500. And so what do they need to do now? So I said, well, you probably need to come and talk to me, and then we'll see where to go from there. Because what had happened the year before, these people came in and said they wanted to become certified organic, and they gave them $1,500. And so the farmers went off and prepared to be certified organic. And so a year later, they came back. And that's when he called me. And so and this was, like I said, this was the extension service, so this was not the company, this was not who has the money that was supposed to be given to these people. But in any case, as a result of that particular situation, I realized that there was some problems out there with communicating with the local level how this money is supposed to be allocated. And right now there are multiple meetings going on with the different NRCSs and other organizations so that everybody's on the same sheet of music about what the organic farmer is supposed to be getting. About 6 months ago, I'm gonna change the subject a little bit. I visited my mentees in Lafayette, Louisiana. Well, before I leave there, let me talk about the slide that I have in front of you. The slide that in front of you is the Soil 7. I don't know, have you ever heard of them? But the Soil 7 are the farmers that fought to keep soil in organic. In Jacksonville, Florida, it was at that meeting down there was when we lost the battle to say that organic was that hydroponics was not organic. That's where the decision was made that we lost, and we did not. It didn't pass to say that hydroponics was not organic. And this was a group that did it. It was a really horrible day. I mean, grown folks crying. And so out of that meeting, we came up with, that's where the Real Organic Project was started. And Real Organic was about making sure that farmers adhere strictly to the rules that's all about certified organic. So going into, I'm a mentor certified through Florida Organic Farmers, and I have mentees in Louisiana. I will be traveling over there in the next couple of days to visit them because they have purchased land and now we're ready to go to the next step. But about 6 months back, I visited them for the first time on their farm, and the first day, it was a 2-day visit. The first day, it was just their farm and farmers all day. The second day, I was so surprised because there were 15 employees from NRCS out there on that farm to see what organic was about. And so we spent the morning on the farm, and then we went to the LSU Extension Center and had a class all that evening with those 15 employees, now educating them on what certified organic was all about. So I'm really encouraged that we are moving in the right direction. And also, like I said, we'll talk about the top program this evening at some point, but the beauty of that program, of the top program, is that for the first time that we're going to have non-ancestral, I guess that's the term, farmers. In other words, up to this point, pretty much every farmer came from a farming family. But this program proposes to be able to let people who have never been farmers, never exposed to farming, become farmers. And these two people are really they represent that, that kind of a potential certified organic farmer. But the most thing that I want to stress in this whole process as we move along to bring in the new certified organic farmers, that there is a clear understanding about what that organic seal is all about, what it means, because it means, being military, I know that it means a lot to me, but when you dealing with folks face to face and they're dealing with your product, you really know what that means. So, and my mentees, we talk on a regular basis, and what we are doing right now is they are farming organically, which means every time they get an input or something, they're going to call me and say, okay, what can I use for this? What can I use for my seed mixture? Whatever it is, we talk about it. And then also we've had classes on the Armory list, so that as they get other things, they can go to that list and understand if that can be used on their farm. Okay, and so now to kind of talk about a little bit about the technology, and I think I'm okay with my slide. Just about technology, drones have been, a pretty in every aspect of society now doing things. But I will say from the start that drones will not replace the importance of utilizing cultural practices. So I'm always say that's going to be our first course, but I would just talk briefly about some things that drones can do. I'm also a commercial drone pilot, and they'll scare you to death sometimes, because I've lost control of it, and it's a really frightening thing to have about $3,000 worth of equipment and you don't know where it is. But don't tell the FAA. I mean, the fact that I'm admitting that means I'm in trouble. So, but it happens. It happens. So drones can be used, and I'm going to tell you, on the small farms, even for us, small farmers, it can use to replace people who are spraying by hand, and the stuff that I'm talking about now really refers to the conventional farmers a lot, because we're talking about hazardous chemicals. The drone can spray those hazardous chemicals. It also cuts out human error, because it can control exactly how much spray is going in the different areas, and it also cuts down on labor costs. And then the other option is tractors, and again, tractors are expensive. Sometimes it runs over the crop, that. It also causes soil compaction, and then in certain areas, the tractor can't get into the small corners to spray. So they are, again, they are not the best. And the main thing is with the problem that I always have is I'm trying to get ready to plant in March and April, and it is wet. It starts to rain, and boom, you get delayed in getting your equipment in the field. And the last thing, you got airplanes. They are expensive. They cannot do spot treatment. You have to do the whole thing. You get pesticide drift, and they're really dangerous. They're dangerous flight conditions, because I hope there's no ag pilots in here, but these guys they're great, okay? They are great. Anybody flies on the telephone lines and this kind of stuff. I was going into Belzoni, Mississippi, and I'm a private pilot. I was going into Belzoni, talking to Memphis Center, and I told him, I said, Memphis Center, there's an ag pilot here on the left. He said, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I said, is he talking to you? He said, no, don't worry about it. And so we coming in, he's still over there. I'm at the end of the runway. I don't know what he's going to do. And so I said, Memphis Center, are you talking to this ag pilot? He said, no, cleared the land. And so what happened as we came in, the ag pilot just, instead of landing on the runway, he just landed on the grass. Just landed on the grass, cut in front of me, and refilled, and everything was fine. But these guys, like I say, these guys, they just, you know, they're great, okay? I'll put it like that. I'll put it like that. So, and other ways that the drones can benefit farmers is, you know, you got drones with sensors on them now, and you can put those sensors on there and detect pesticides. You can detect where you got fertilizer deficiencies. All these kind of things can be done with the drone. And so I go back to what I said earlier, that what is important for us as farmers is that we utilize cultural practices. And so from that standpoint, when we're talking about organic crop production, when we're talking about cultural practices, we're talking about soil fertility, number one. We're talking about seeds and planting stock, which means using organic seeds, crop rotation, and then the term is PAMS, P-A-M-S, which is managing pests, weeds, and diseases. Prevention, prevention, avoidance, monitoring, and suppression. And so, yeah, for example, suppression, you know, suppression would be using mulch, or many people use some other things, cardboard and some other stuff to do the suppression. And the fifth thing is maintaining identity and integrity of organic crops. That means not commingling, okay? It's not often that you have an organic and a conventional deal, but people get in big trouble by commingling the crops. Now for the livestock farmers, theirs is livestock living conditions in their facility, grazing. You've heard all the discussions about these CAFOs and everything. So they have to be on the grass. Animal health, again, using organic feed. And the final thing, and I hope I can remember this, animal origin. And if you remember, and we got livestock folks? I know we do. But for animal origin, if you remember, as you convert to organic, this process has to start in the third trimester of birth of the animal. I'm almost sure that's what it is. Third trimester. And for the poultry farmers, the process has to start the second day that little chick is born. And you can convert to organic. Okay. What I want to do now is kind of go through some of my crops that I have. I don't know at what point we want questions. Okay. And if you got any other comments about that, just give me a holler. This is a Cherokee purple heirloom tomato that I grow. This one, I mean, I took this picture because about a week later, we had a big freeze, and I lost everything. It was like 60 plants with tomatoes just like this. And the best I could do is get some of the green ones and just cut them up and for green tomatoes. But these are risks that people take that you have to, they calculated risks. I didn't start planting these until August. So I knew that I was taking a chance. You do that. Sometime you win, sometime you lose. I lost, but it was good training. It was a good training. That was. I'm looking forward to this year in getting it right. Other sources of revenue for the small farm. There are some herb shops in Gluckstadt, Mississippi, and so what they said, I grew them some tomato starts, and they sell them in their store. This is, I'm not proud of this, but this is what happens when you're trying to get your product in some of these stores. They will commit to letting you bring your product in, but then they don't allow you to bring in enough to make it worth your while. They'll say, well, you bring in 20 pounds a week or something like that. And so what happened, the squash were really selling well, but they had squash really from Mexico, because I saw it sitting right next to it. And they were making much more money off of that. So they limited mine. And what I did, you have options, because with squash, you wait one day more and it's no good because, of the standards that people want to have. So what I did is, in this case, it was too late, so I just put them in my compost pile. It happened once before, and I gave them to the pigs because it was so quick that I didn't have a chance to get it to one of the food hubs or something like that. But, the thing is, we have to make sure we don't lower the price of our product. I guess that's the bottom line, what I'm saying here. If you put it there, you want to keep your price where it should be, and then if it doesn't work, you do that. This is the rest of that stuff is coffee grounds. I pick up about 200 pounds of coffee grounds every other day from Cups in Jackson, Mississippi, and so I'm working on a huge compost pile on my farm right now. Okay, that's my squash. And this is at the Country Meat Market, which is right down the street. Again, they've been real good, but this is a situation. It's local. They've been there 50 years. They've been knowing the family that long, so they gave me an opportunity to do it. This, you can't see this, but this is alfalfa sprouts at Sullivan's Marketplace. Sullivan's Marketplace is a brand new, it's on the top there. It's a brand new supermarket, got about 7 of them in Mississippi, but they truly back up what they say in reference to supporting local. And we all realize that locally grown is a great buzzword, and it really means it, because people like to look at who grew their products. But these people are, they're backing it up. I sell alfalfa sprouts. Right now, I'm selling microgreens there. Later on, I'll sell squash, and I sell the French breakfast radish there. And they have just been great in supporting me. Now, borage, I don't know if you're familiar with that. Borage is it's a beautiful flower that I grow alongside the tomato plants to keep the pests out. But this herb shop, it's edible. You can put it on your salads and everything. So they asked me to grow these flowers for them to sell, and it did really well, really well. Okay, this is my private label turmeric that has done well, but I want to just say that turmeric is not well absorbed in the system, everybody probably knows that. Even though you take it, you ingest it, the reality is very little of it is absorbed. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to resubmit this to the USDA, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a 1% black pepper solution in there, and it's going to be what is called a geometric dilution, which is it's a kind of pharmaceutical term to make sure that that black pepper is evenly distributed throughout the whole compound. And the bottom line is, with the peer-reviewed literature, it increases the absorption 2,000%. And that makes a big difference. That makes a big difference. But I just want to say a lot of that stuff out there is crap. So be careful what you're looking at out there. Let's see, what else we got here? Okay, I also have a wheatgrass shot. It's kind of seasonal, and I'm gonna. I think what I want to do is put lemon in it. It tastes so horrible. I mean, I mean, these athletic jocks, they love it, but it's horrible. I don't know how in the world they do it. So the key to some of this stuff is to make it palatable for regular people, and I might can be have a little bit more success. So that's my wheatgrass shot. I'm also getting ready to do a wellness shot, which I'm really excited about it. It's basically organic lemons, oranges, turmeric, ginger, black pepper, cayenne pepper, pineapple juice, coconut water, olive oil, because olive oil also, turmeric is lipid soluble. Therefore, it also makes the turmeric more digestible. And it seems like there's one more thing, honey. So I'm excited about that, and I'm trying it out, and people they loving it. And but I'm in the process of getting that approved. These are the French breakfast radish I was telling you about that the chef ate. It's fun to grow, and it's pretty, and people like to use it for salads and all that, and it's real easy to grow. Takes about 30 days to grow. And that's at the display in Glutstack on the counter there. Now, these are my tomatoes, my Cherokee purple and beefsteak tomatoes. I put this slide in here for this reason right here. As climate changes, as we had this climate change, and this thing has been, this hot town has been in that position for 10 years. And for the last year, it floods terribly all the time. It's like, what happened? I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden we get just inundated with water. And so to combat that, this row is, I put this row here, and it's connected to another ditch that when that water gets in there, I can get that water out of the high tunnel quickly, because if that water stays in that high tunnel a week or so, you're going to rot the roots of those plants. And so that row right there is designed to get that water out of there real quick. Oh, that's not my drone, but that's just in there. Now this is a drone shot that I took, and the reason I'm so proud of this is that I planted those trees, and I can't remember how long ago. You get up and you do what mom and daddy say do, and it's not it was not fun at that point. But it was all about at that point, we're going to cut these trees down for pulpwood. And once we got those trees up, we said, no way, no way. We're not going to do it. And so, but I want to brag about, you can see how they in rows, straight rows. I love it. I love it. We got, this is right next to the organic farm, and it's about 14 acres back behind it, a lot of it volunteers. And now when we plant it, you plant them in real close rows, and then every 10 years or so, you go in and take out every other row. And so we're in the process of doing that in another area. But I did this because you remember the devastation that pine trees had this last year. I mean, it was unbelievable. This is my stand, and I think I had to cut down maybe 2 trees. And that was mainly because those canopies weren't touching up there. And once the plants were weakened, the beetles couldn't jump from one to the other. But there's another area that the plants were on a hill, and I had to cut down 30 trees there because, I didn't even realize they were dead. I would come in every day and look up, and there was nothing, and then I came in one day, and they were dead. It's just like overnight. So this is a purpose. This is what drones can, you can use drones for. This is what I use it for, and to just go there, spot any infestation that we might have, and then cut that tree down as quick as possible. I think that's all the slides I have. And what I want to say in conclusion is that a year ago, I gave a talk and said that I was really pleased with all the work that had been done on the Farm Bill. We had a whole bunch of issues, and believe it or not, we dealt with just about all of those issues. Proposals were made to deal with all of the issues we had, and it was really encouraging. And so as I stand here today, I don't know. Right now, I'm not as optimistic as I was, but the thing is, we're going to keep on, like I say, we're going to keep on down the track, and like I say, I think it's still going to work out okay. So that ends my presentation. Are there questions?
Thank you, Jesse. So I'm going to give Jesse just a minute for a breather and to maybe take a sip of that water behind him. And I'm going to do the logistical part that I was supposed to do at the beginning, but for those of you who are here at that point, I got a little caught up in myself. So we are using Slido app for question and answers for Jesse this morning. The QR code is up there on the screen in front of you, and it's on page 4 in your program. There are also on some of the round tables some flyers that have that QR code. If you need help, we have staff and folks out in the room who can help you to type in your question or to access Slido. If you're having troubles, just raise your hand and we'll get somebody out there to you. Slido allows you to type in your question and then to upvote other people's questions so that we can see what the majority out there wants to hear from Jesse. And since I didn't prompt him earlier, I'm going to sit down and take another mic where I can ask a question of Jesse and bring him back up here to the podium to answer. So let me switch mics and you all keep typing your questions in out there. All right, I'm live. so your work with the Soil 7, advocating for the integrity of organic farming being rooted in the soil and only in the soil, is very commendable. Your work on the National Organic Standards Board and with Real Organic Project, continuing all of that advocacy for integrity. And so I'm going to also acknowledge that not all farmers are going to take themselves to DC or to regular meetings on a national board. And so I guess I just wonder, for those farmers out there who aren't able or willing or motivated or in a position to take those kind of big steps, what is the maybe one small step that you would encourage any farmer who's interested in supporting organic agriculture as a national movement of farming and farmers? What's that one small thing that anybody and everybody can do other than their organic farming practices in that direction?
Okay,
Thanks.
well, I think the answer to that is to form local, local coalitions of other, farmers doing the same thing. And I say that because in Mississippi, we have the fewest number of certified organic farmers, and I've never seen a single one of the others. So I think it is important for us to, get together at that local level, learn each other, and, once we build a relationship at those levels, then we can kind of, I think, expand our ability to do something at that local level to just support all of ourselves.
All right. Sorry, I had some technical difficulties on my Slido, too. Okay. We have another question out there?
Okay, I have a question that's too long to type. So I'm a freelance writer, and a few months ago I interviewed a turmeric farmer from Florida who was speaking about his problems with international certifiers, those umbrella organizations that have that give out or certify. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And he was talking that his organic turmeric grown in the US still costs 3 times as much as the turmeric that, say, comes in from Fiji, is still organically certified through these international organizations. But what do you do on a federal policy level to, for that integrity of upholding the U.S. standard and what U.S. farmers need to adhere to receive that organic label, which is not placed on international farmers?
I know exactly what you're talking about. If I'm correct, it's like one organization gets certified, then it has all of these other organizations that get certified under. It's like these micro right. Communities that are sometimes even families that microcraft turmeric, say Fiji or with all the organic integrity procedures they have put in place, they're coming into the United States. Well, right now they're starting to inspect all of that stuff, where in the past they hadn't. So all I can say is, everybody in that supply chain has to be certified organic. So I don't know exactly how the farmer in Florida is competing with them. That's the point. How is he competing with the turmeric that's coming Oh,
U.S. market
okay.
you know. Because, so I would have to pull the exact numbers up again, but say the turmeric that comes in from Fiji would be
Yes.
priced at like $8 and something, and the US grown turmeric would be at a, I don't know, pound price of like 23 or 18, or I can't exactly recall the numbers now, but.
Now, again, not to be funny, you know, that's capitalism. So, I mean, the grocery store, you know, they have the option not to do that, not to accept those you know, the products from these places.
Where there were even lawsuits to the USDA, actually, was that like only a small percentage, maybe 4 or 5% of the turmeric grown internationally was actually tested, or you know, yeah.
Okay. And so, you know, you know the big issue with grain, they are focusing on grain right now, but what needs to happen is that we start focusing in on these other areas that, you know, like the turmeric, it's not a really big market, so that's not a high priority right now. And it's going to be like people like me and you who it affects us to then get with the politics and stop this, because that's the only way it's going to happen, because the grain is all being right now they're doing samples of every load that comes in. That's how they're dealing with that. But the turmeric, I'm sure that at this point it's just coming in with nobody inspecting it.
Okay, I'm sorry, this is Jenny. I'm cutting in because I want to go back to the Slido. For those who have hands up in the room, we'll get a staff to come to you and assist you in putting those into Slido. Thanks. So we have a question that's been upvoted by a lot of folks. Jesse, do you have a commercial kitchen on your farm, or how are you processing those value-added products to standards and certifications?
Yes, well, it is a certified kitchen. And the way these certifications work is you're certified based on what you are producing. So like the turmeric, I have dehydrators and grinders and sifters. That's all you need for that. There are no stoves or anything like that. Where's the question? Oh, it was just a general question? Yeah. So what happens, your certifier, when you say, this is what I want to do, you have to explain how you're going to do it, step by step, put the plan in, and then what they do, they come out and inspect your facility to make sure that you can, based on what you got in there, you can produce the product like you say you're going to produce. So when you say a commercial kitchen, you don't need a commercial kitchen. You just need a facility that you can accomplish what it is you are asking to be certified.
All right, next question. I know that the requirement from the USDA National Organic Project is that a farm must spend 3 years certifying or transitioning towards organic certification if they have applied anything on their land that does not meet organic certification requirements. How long was your transition process to become certified organic?
Immediate, and I'll tell you why. I'm dealing with this with my mentees over in Louisiana. The land that I started out with, nothing had been on it for 20 years. And you get a affidavit, certified statement that says no synthetic substances have been put on that property. And that's all you need to do that. Now, you're going to get soil samples and all of that, but if you have not put any synthetic or prohibited substance on that farm, it says, the regulation says the last 36 months, then you can apply to be immediately certified. So that's the answer to that, yeah.
Next question for you. What do you see are the biggest needs for policy changes in agriculture broadly, or if you want to repeat or expand on organics specifically?
Okay,
What do you see are the biggest needs for policy changes in agriculture or organics specifically?
well, right now, like I said earlier in my presentation, a year ago, I was very pleased with what had been done in agriculture to deal with the issues that were standing out for most of the organic farmers. So that work, I think, has been done already. And it has been submitted. Now we just have to wait and see what's going to happen with the Farm Bill. That's what it is. We've done the legwork. That's part of going on Capitol Hill, is to get all this information from the farmers, compile it, and said these are the main issues. And after you do that, then they immediately write up a bill or something to address that. And so those things have been done already.
So Jesse, you shared a little bit about your tunnel and shared the picture of the tomatoes and how you've had to sacrifice some of that really important real estate in your tunnels for mitigating the flooding that's happening, that's changed over time with climate change impacts. Are there other impacts and adaptations to climate changes that you're making, and how do you see that ag professionals and organizations like Oak can help educate and support farmers around adapting to these changes?
One of the biggest changes that I've made was in the rows, the way I structure my rows. I'm glad that question came up because my farm is kind of on a slant. So when you get those big rains, the velocity of that water, it has gotten super fast. And what was happening was it would destroy the rows. So what I have done is now constructed, it's a lot of problem, but I've instructed larger rows and put it a little further apart where that water can go right through them and not destroy the rows. So, and that has worked. That has worked well. Again, you can't get as much crop in, but it's a horrible thing to be in the barn looking out there when it's storming and see that row just wash away because you maybe didn't have it angled right or it just wasn't big enough. But if first of all, you evaluate the flow of your water. That's going to be the big thing, exactly how your water is flowing, and then you structure those rows so that you can move that water away from, moving out of that area as quick as possible. And I've done it by just increasing the size of my rows. The plants are up here on the top, and it's worked well.
So we have a question about wildlife on the farm. You talked a little bit about that back in the history of your farm and farming, but what kind of wildlife do you see on your farm, and do they affect your farming, and how, and is it positive or negative? Any stories on that?
Well, it was interesting. I was talking to some folks over in Atlanta, and I was playing with some butterflies out there. And so we have butterflies. I'm going to be honest, butterflies, and I haven't seen much else. This year I haven't even seen snakes. And I always gear things, if I don't see snakes, I'm gonna have rats. That's just the way it goes, okay? And vice versa. So right now, the rats are kind of a problem, but I have no snakes. And because it's fenced off, they can't get in there. That's a requirement that if you're gonna be certified organic, you know, animals can't just walk in there. That's why I will eat my food right out of the field, because, you know, cats can get in there. But the bottom line is birds can poop in there too, and so you can't stop that. So you're taking a chance when you're being super certified organic. but like I said, I know there are coyotes because I can hear them at night. And I think there's some raccoons because they have eaten my watermelon. Something ate the watermelon. I don't know what it was. It had to be big because it just bursted open, and I don't even know how it got there. So, but I don't have many critters out there at all. And deer love it. I'll tell you the story. The game warden came by, and he came by and said, you know, I was out here the other night, and there were 12 deer standing out here. I said, yeah, because they know you can't shoot them out here. So this was between growing season, and the grass was kind of high because they were just laying out there. And so he said, well, can I hunt? I said, you the game warden. You do whatever you want to do. I mean,
All right. It was interesting to hear about your background in medicine and working in hospice, and learning from the doctors and the patients how nutrition and good nutrition made a difference to their health. Can you speak a bit more about that work, and whether in those days or since then you've seen evidence of organic food as medicine, or speak to that?
Very definitely. I'll say this. The young generation understands organic. I'm going to be perfectly honest. They go to Whole Foods and they call it whole check. So, so from that point, and so let me be clear about the kit. I asked that again. The organic is medicine?
Yeah.
I mean, most definitely, because like I say, people understand that turmeric versus all of these other anti-inflammatory medicines and all that, they really want to go to the herbs when they can, to be if they're going to be effective. That's the key. That some of this stuff is not effective, but there are things that are very effective, and people are really moving to use those herbs and stuff. Yeah, other than the traditional medicines.
Great. So we only have time for maybe one more question, and I might give you a chance to choose between these two or wrap them in together, because I know they're very integrated. One question reads that they're interested in learning more about the Real Organic Project, and the other related question is, please talk more about the Soil 7 and the accomplishments of the group. Unmute me for a second.
Okay.
All right, I'm unmuted and talking to the staff at the same time. Jesse's answer just then was, we failed, and I might argue against that. There are a lot of Kentucky farmers who are certified organic and have gone on to get the Real Organic Project seal, and they don't even necessarily put that on their marketing. They don't necessarily advertise that to their customers, but because they believe in the work of the Real Organic Project and the Soil 7, they will go on to get that add-on certification. So, yeah.
Okay,
Talk a little more about that.
Okay, I mean, I use it on my products. That was an old picture there of the turmeric. The battle continues with the hydroponic situation. I'm gonna be perfectly honest, and Jenny didn't know this. I was supposed to be out in California for this at this time, moderating a debate with two heavy-duty players, Dave Chapman and the president of CCOF. I don't know how it came out, but I'm glad to be here. So the fight goes on. The board is being okay. Since all this is recorded, you always have to be careful. At this time, when you look at the NOSB, I don't see any chance that we're going to deal with that again. I mean, that's the reality. When we fought, the vote was 7-8, and we needed 10 votes. Okay, and the corporate folks they just had put their folks on it, and I didn't understand it at that point because it was just so clear to me that organic is soil, and you had one person was an inspector who voted against it, and I mean it was some unbelievable things. I don't want to talk about the specifics of the way people voted, but we could see that a lot of work had gone into structuring that board so that it failed, and that's so I don't see any movement on that issue right now. And I always say that what I say at the end of my presentations is that the solution to that is that the NOP does its job. That's what I said in Jacksonville, that the only way we're going to solve this thing is that the NOP changes its mind, because it did it. We didn't vote on hydroponics. They made that decision. And so they're going to have to make the decision to change it.
Want to say any final words, because we're over time?
Oh, I mean, I've really enjoyed it. I like farmers because we real people. And when you're on these other boards, you got all these big shots, and they not fun. So.
All right, real people and all others in the audience, we're a little behind schedule. Sorry about that. We started a little late. The next session will start in 8 minutes. So we're going to move some walls, take your break. Thanks for being here.